Hello everyone, my name is Anton Boyko, and today I would like to talk to you about the infrastructure monitoring and how to do that from requirements to tool, not the other way around. You can see my email here if you will have any further questions related to this presentation, or you would like to talk about something like cloud computing or IT in general. Feel free to drop me an email. I always try to reply to all the emails that I receive through this mail address. So let's actually get back to our topic. But before we start, I would like to actually tell you a small but still true story from my experience. So we're talking about monitoring today, and the story is more like a question how you will actually understand that your application is working. Okay, back in the 90s, there used to be a very popular way of doing monitoring for your app. We call it phone-based monitoring. So in case my app is not working, my users will just pick up the phone and they will just call me directly. As you can understand, nowadays that is not an option at all, but I just put it here as an icebreaker. Another option how you can monitor your app, or at least that's what I've heard from the engineers from different companies, is that they will monitor the CPU load, for example, and then if CPU will go above 90%, they may start the investigation. But technically that actually gives you nothing, because if CPU went above 90%, what that mean? It may mean that you are lack of resources, but additionally it may mean that you are the ninja in terms of planning your capacity for your application. It may mean that you plan your capacity exactly to that sweet spot where you have only small tiny amount of either under provision or over provision for your compute resources. So that's also not the best way how you can monitor your app. Another one can be that, okay, we will stream all the logs to the ELK stack. Yeah, that's a very popular thing, but for example, currently I'm working in a company called Vaultek, and even the relatively small websites that we are doing can generate more than 1 gigs of raw logs per day. So those applications, they are really chatty. And in case you will have an issue, so good luck trying to analyze that amount of data. If your project is bigger than the average website, then technically the problem will be bigger, much bigger as well. So this is also a good option, but definitely not the best and not the proper way how you should do that. Another one may be we will ping our application with web pings, and we will use the solutions like Pingdom, for example. That's another interesting option, and technically that will help you to mimic the behavior of the end users, but still, what exactly you will ping with Pingdom? Will you ping, for example, the main application, the main website page, or you will ping, I don't know, some dedicated health check endpoint? How you can make sure that with that one ping, which can end up with either HTTP 200 or some other status code, you will have a decent level of understanding what is actually happening within your system. Another one, and this is quite popular nowadays, is that we will monitor our application with Prometheus, and then we will display all the dashboards in Grafana. This is actually a good one, but as an architect, what I want to say here, basically a single response to all those different options, is that please stop doing how before what. So when you're doing monitoring, it's very important to understand what exactly you want to monitor, and only after that switch to how we will do that. So basically, if you were following my presentations all across the internet, across different conferences, you may see this slide, but anyway, I still believe that this is the powerful one, so I will go with that one. The DevOps, the three stages of the conversation. Let's say that you want to change something, and let's say that you want to do the monitoring in a proper way. Start with the requirements and then basically go to the selection of tools and implementing those tools. So the first stage that you need to handle is the people stage. So you need to create that common ground. You need to explain to all your team members why this is important and how they can contribute and how they can benefit from that afterwards. The next one, you need to define all your processes. So basically, what exactly you will monitor, which metrics you will collect, how you will react to those metrics, how you will use them for troubleshooting, and so on and so forth. And only after that, only on the third stage, we can talk about the exact products, the exact tools, the exact implementation options, but only after we talk to the people and only after we define all our processes. So before we will get any further, today I would like to also scope a bit my presentation, because in general, when we are talking about monitoring is a very vast area and it will be impossible to cover everything just in one speech. So that is why today we will talk only about a tiny small part of it, which is based on real life experience, of course, and which is partially based on the transformation that we are currently running within the Vaultec company, within the cloud engineering department. So I will talk about the monitoring, which is related to the infrastructure monitoring, not application monitoring. I will focus a lot on the performance part of it, so how we can monitor and how we can make sure that our infrastructure is performing well. And also I will talk a bit about the capacity planning and the way how we can again monitor that the amount of resources that we provisioned right now is basically enough. We don't have over provision, we don't have under provision, we provision the exact same amount that we need to handle the load that we have right now.